Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophet Speak. Today we continue our study of the book of Shmuel Aleph, the first book of Samuel, and we are in chapter 10, part B. We're about to read verse 18 in chapter 10. In the last podcast, we're going to start with verse 17 in chapter 10. We just completed the first half where Shaul was told by Shmuel that he is going to be anointed king. He sent him home and then told him to wait at Giva until Shmuel comes to join him, and he will instruct him there exactly what to do next. And Shmuel basically gave him a heads up that we are going to have a large inauguration ceremony. When Shaul did eventually get home, he didn't tell anyone about what Shmuel had said regarding the detail, that minor little detail that he was going to be appointed king. He just went back to work, went back about his business, and did his job at working on his father's farm like he was doing before. In verse 17, let's pick up there. Now, so Shaul is home. Vayatzek Shmuel et ha'am el Adonai ha-mitzpah. So Shmuel gathered all of the people at Mitzpah. He gathered all the people before God at Mitzpah. Now, what does that mean? He gathered them before God. It's not exactly clear. As far as we know, there wasn't a specific altar or anything there, or maybe there was. And that's what it means. Or it could just mean when you gather all the people together, it's an assembly in God's honor, and therefore it's considered gathering everyone before God. Vayomer el bnei Yisrael. At least when the prophet Shmuel does it for the right purposes, then it would be a gathering before God. And he said to the people of Israel that gathered in front of him. So we had many people representing all of the tribes. And Shmuel says to them as follows: Ko amar Adonai Eloi Yisrael, so says God, the Lord of Israel. Anochi, I ha'aleiti etz Yisrael miMitzrayim, I took the people of Israel out of Mitzrayim. V'atzil etchem biad Mitzrayim, and I saved you from the hands of Egypt, from the oppressive hands of Egypt. Umiyad kol ha'mamlachot halochatzim etchem. And I have also saved you from the many, many different kingdoms and many different armies that have set against you and oppressed you over the years. A very quick reminder of history. I, God, Shmuel says to the people, I, God, took you out of Egypt. I, God, saved you one by one from all of the enemies over the years. If you remember from the book of Judges, one after another, God sent someone to lead the people and rescue them, but it was never a hereditary king. It was never God. In the circumstances necessary, God made sure the people would be saved. However, you weren't content with this. You weren't content relying on me. You wanted a king. So vatem hayom astemet Elohechem, you have rejected your God, asher hu moshiach lachem mikol ro'otechem v'tzorotechem, that He is the one who has saved you from all of your sufferings and all of your problems and calamities and troubles. Vatomru lo, and you said to God, Ki melech tasim aleinu, we want to make a king, place a king above us. V'ata, so now, and if you recall Shmuel, the people requested Shmuel. Shmuel said okay, because God told him to listen to the people and find a king, because they insisted. So, V'ata, now hityatzvu lifnei Adonai, I want you to stand before God, l'shivtechem, according to your tribes, u'la'alfechem, and according to your this is often translated as your clans or your families. So the tribes, and then the subdivisions of the tribes, everybody stand according to your groups. And I'm going to search among you and find one who is going to be the king. So Vayakrev Shmuel et kol shivtei Yisrael. Shmuel brought forward representatives of each of the tribes. First, to narrow it down to a tribe. Vayilached shevet Binyamin, and he chose the tribe of Binyamin. Now, Vayilached is a language that suggests that he did some sort of a lottery, and the lottery fell out on the tribe of Benjamin. Okay? So now he divides the Benjamin tribe to families. Vayakrev shevet Binyamin limishpachotav, and he divides, and he brought the representatives of the different families of Binyamin. Vatilached mishpachat hamatri, and the Matri family was chosen among the Benjaminites. And then among the Matri family, he chose people. Vayilached Shaul ben Kish, and Saul, the son of Kish, was the one who the final lottery fell out upon. Vayavakshu, and they looked around. V'lo nimtza, they didn't find him. He wasn't there. They had this big gathering at Mitzpah, and they looked around. He wasn't there. Vayishalu od ba'Adonai. So they asked God again. And what does that mean, they ask God again? Usually when it says they ask God, it refers to asking the high priest who's wearing the breastplate, the Urim V'Tumim. They asked for a response. The question was, Hava od halom hish. Has someone come that we don't know? Is there someone else here? Maybe there's someone else here that we're not aware of, that we could do the lottery again. Vayomer Adonai, and God answered, meaning the Urim V'Tumim, presumably. It could mean Shmuel, the prophet, through talking to God, but the way it's worded, it sounds like, and the commentaries agree that they're referring to the Urim V'Tumim, the breastplate of the high priest. Hinehu nechba el hakelim. He, the one guy you're looking for, is hiding among the vessels, among the items. So, in other words, yeah, he's here, but he's not standing up front. He's everybody put all their stuff down in a place, and he's hiding behind the pile where all of your baggage is. Vayarutzu vayikachu misham, and they ran to where all the baggage had been placed. Vayikachu misham, they took him out of there. Vayitzatzev b'toch ha'am, and he stood among the people. And it was obvious when he stood among the people, vayigba michol ha'am mishichmo v'mala. He had that regal presence, that his height was shoulder and above everyone else. He stood out, and this is a physical standing out. And remember, the demand that the people had for a king was a demand that was not consistent with God's will. God didn't want them to do this, but they did this. So they looked for the human characteristics that they were looking for: someone big, tall, and handsome and strong, someone who looks like a leader. So they saw Shaul, and there he was. Vayomer Shmuel, and Shmuel said El Kol to the entire nation. Now Shmuel had already seen the positive aspects of Saul's character, of Shaul's character. And therefore Shmuel says, Harisem, now do you see Asher Bachar Bo Adonai, the one who God has chosen, Ki ein kamo b'chol, there was no one like him among the nation, both in physical stature and spiritual stature. Now that Shmuel introduced him to spirituality and to God, as we saw in the previous part of this chapter, Vayariu Chalaam, and the people let out a great noise, Vayomru, and they cried out, Yechi HaMelech, long live the king. These are the first times the people of Israel spoke such words, which are familiar from other nations. Yechi HaMelech. Now the people had chosen their king. The title king now, the first time the word king is being used is now. Shmuel had not used the term king until this point. Shmuel had used the term Nagid and other terms, but the people declared him king. So Shmuel now sees that the people aren't going to fulfill what he was trying to go through the back door and maybe make him not such a king, but a leader, maybe a hereditary leader, a little bit more than what used to be, but not quite a king. But no, that's not what the people want. They say Yechi HaMelech, they want a king. Vayedaber Shmuel el ha'am. So Shmuel speaks to the people, and he tells them, he reminds them at Mishpat HaMelucha, the laws of the kingdom, of kingship, or the laws of the monarchy. Now, remember, when Shmuel told them the laws of the monarchy before, it was meant to discourage them. He told them he's going to take your children, he's going to make them serve him, he's going to take taxes, he's going to take all those things, and you're not going to like it. But there's other rules that if he's going to be a king, you have to treat him like a king. Vayachtof b'sefer, he wrote out all the rules. Vayanach lifnei Adonai, and he placed it before God. Vayishalach Shmuel et kol ha'am ish leveso, and Shmuel then sent the people to go home. Now there's a king. However, interestingly enough, Shmuel did not instruct Shaul to build a palace, to get to start collecting taxes, to start acting like a government. Rather, it still was understood at this time that yes, he's a king, but he's a king to the extent that he's going to help defend the people at war. V'gam Shaul halach leveito givatza. So where did Shaul go? He went home to give up. Vayelchu imo hachayil asher nagal im belibam. And the people who had been inspired by the appointment of the king and wanted to join his, apparently they expected there to be a newly formed army, those people followed after Shaul. So he went back with an entourage. But at this point, he wasn't quite accepted yet. He hadn't done anything other than be tall and be good looking and seem like a king and have the endorsement of the prophet, which is good. It's a good start. Chose him out of the people, but not enough to prove to all the people that he's going to be the guy that's going to save them from their enemies. Uvnei Belial and a bunch of Bnei Belial. We had the same term being used in the beginning of the book of Samuel when we discussed the people who hang around and make trouble, troublemakers, thugs. There's a bunch of those people. Amru, they were already yapping. Ma Yoshienu said, this guy's going to save us. Vayivzuhu, and they made fun of him, and Vayivzuhu literally means they scorned Saul. They didn't bring him any gifts or presents. Remember, bringing someone a present is a sign of respect. We saw that when Shaul himself went to Shmuel. Shaul had the respect, had the sense of awe and respect for a great leader to know that he has to bring a gift. But these people, they came to Saul and they abused him by not bringing gifts. By he kimacharish, and Saul pretended to, well, it's not, pretended is not really well, and he acted as if he was quiet, as if it didn't bother him. This gives us a little hint that he was bothered, but he didn't make a thing out of it, which seems to be a word to his credit for not taking it personally and not getting all insulted and angry, or to the extent that he was, and it makes sense that someone naturally would be. He did not, it didn't get to him, it didn't get to his soul. So again, we're still left with a picture, a very positive picture of Saul and his humility. And at this point, he didn't start acting like a king. He just went home. And those that were loyal to him, that wanted to be loyal to him, followed along. And this is where we complete this chapter. In the next chapter, we will read of Saul's first major victory, in which he proves himself as a capable leader of the people. Thank you so much for studying chapter 10 together. Looking forward to studying chapter 11 and the rest of this beautiful book of Shmuel together.